Can I speak?
Yes.
So I would like to, I think before I move a motion, I would like to say, I think it's been um, a, a concern that our district for the last 5 years has increased legal spending. We have more than doubled from 2018, 2019. So I'm like to make a
That breaks the
discussion.
policy
gonna say, I
where
think
we
we're
have
in
a
violation of our
48-hour
policy.
rule. We
On
have
the
a
new
48-hour
business.
rule for new business and you have not used.
I
you
have
Excuse
given-
me, this is not open for the public.
the-
It is not open to the public.
Okay. With all due respect, I did give an advance notice. I did speak with AJ regarding the legal threshold. And I did raise my concerns.
And you
Mrs.
asked to
Jolly,
bring it
Mr.
up in
can
new
I,
business with
if I
the
can,
board
if I,
president?
can you please not interrupt me?
Let her
Can you
finish.
please not interrupt me?
Just
I
let her
am
finish.
finishing my sentence
I'm
and I
allowed
think I
to.
have every right to speak it.
No.
In your opinion, thank you. So
Point
all I'm
of
saying-
order,
So all
point
I'm,
of order, point of order. Robert's rules allows point of order without, and I'm allowed to interrupt. It says right here in Robert's rules, yes, I'm allowed to interrupt. Point of order.
You have to be recognized by the speaker first.
so with this concern about board attorney's presence was raised over 48 hours by multiple board members, like by Mrs. Jolly and by me. I did call AJ. We have a concern regarding the legal spending in this district and us going over the legal threshold. So I move a motion to have a board attorney present at our board meetings. Thank you. Can I get a second?
Sorry, would you restate the motion?
The motion is to have a board attorney present at our board meetings.
Yes.
It's 48 hours notice to the board. It's not to AJ. Zero. I don't know.
I move that the motion be postponed indefinitely.
There's a motion on the floor. Thank you.
I'm
According-
allowed to do that. Do I have a second?
According to the bylaw 164, and as we've had here, there's the 48-hour rule, which was just suggested. I'm new to this because I'm not aware of this since it was done I don't know how long ago it was done.
It was done in the lame duck session,
So-
last meeting of
so
December. Yeah.
As we've all alluded to the policy, you would have to bring that up at the next board meeting.
With all due respect, AJ, our current agenda is in violation of a couple of our policies. We have hashed it out. The resolution is in violation of our board policy 0154. So we can't be treating one policy to have power versus another policy.
154, what are we referring to?
I'll read it for you. 154 was basically a resolution, our organizational meeting needed to have readoption of policies and bylaws.
And as I stated earlier, it was done twice, and I was going to look into that matter, and if so, we would vote on it at the next meeting.
Well, all I'm saying is we are not in adherence with some of our own policies, okay? You're going to do research. So in the same way, Mrs. Jolly and me, we were incoming board members. We have put it in writing in an email to Dr. Worley. And it is her responsibility to share it with the board. So we were not on the board to abide by this policy. We were incoming board members. We just got sworn in today. And by your own language, we cannot get activated our board emails before we are sworn in. So how are we supposed to communicate? From our personal email, we did send it to you and to Dr. Worley and Giordano. So it is up to you to circulate it. There's a motion on the floor here. I have a second. I think we need to vote.
I object to the consideration of this question. Do I have a second?
You
Because
cannot
it
have a
does not
second
follow
motion. Yeah.
procedure. Yes,
Yes.
you can,
Okay.
according to
No.
Robert's
But
rules.
I'm well beyond with this.
That's
I've-
fine, but
I've
I
never-
think
in
the
all my
board
25
attorney who,
Years of doing this, I've never had
I'm
any of
sorry.
this circumstance ever have done in my career.
we can
And-
vote
and
on
I'm
my
gonna need
motion
the-
first
I'm
and
gonna
then
need
go
the
to Pam's, okay?
legal-
I will second Pam's. We are in violation of our policy.
Yeah, but that is after my motion. I already have a second. There's a motion on the floor. We
According
need
to
vote.
Robert's rules, I am allowed to interrupt and I can ask for a second, and
if
I need a
I allow you-
2/3 majority to remove the question because it does not follow procedure.
I think we need to vote. We have a motion on the floor and then we can vote on yours in
The
order.
motion
So I
is
could, I'm
illegal.
sorry, can you clarify the motion again? I heard it, but then we had, yes, could you just,
The motion is to have a board attorney present at every board meeting for Berkeley Heights Public Board of Ed.
Motion to have,
A board attorney
for the
present.
full calendar year is.
Yeah, for the
motion.
full calendar year at every board meeting.
But we have them.
Yeah, she's asking to vote for something we already have.
We already have.
Actually, can I make an amendment to that? Yeah, like,
No, you can't. And
okay.
I have a motion on the table that's open and I have a second.
Well, do you have a third?
this is.
I need a roll call for that.
Hold, so we have Mrs. Akiri as the motion. I have the second here as Tom Forreger.
What was it?
Yours.
With all due respect, Mr. Wenzel, whatever advice you're giving, if you give it to the rest of the board, that would be appreciated.
It is 0164 conduct.
But I objected to the consideration of the question.
Too,
because
and
of
that
procedure.
too, so we're just going in circles here.
I think the board attorney only works for a couple of board members and not the rest.
So what I'm going to do is going to vote on Mrs. Akiri. Take that vote. I have
A second though,
a second vote from yourself. Let me mark that down.
but
You're-
that's to
no.
cancel the question.
But if I vote no on having no board attorney present,
It wasn't, the motion wasn't to have no board attorney present, it was to have a board attorney
You
present.
have a board attorney present. It's what the motion is.
so if I
Which is
vote,
currently what we have.
I was going to say, don't we already
It's
have
So
that?
we
Reactivation.
wouldn't vote it down if we get 4 votes, we wouldn't vote it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Because we already currently have that situation and our wording is that the board president can appoint counsel to come to the meeting. And since we already have that, and the motion was made to only vote yes for it, we would keep it even if it voted no, the 4,
The thing is,
unless it got a 5th,
we don't have a board president to invite.
He
them.
locked himself out.
because it's already currently
Sorry.
happening.
Well,
It doesn't, there's no violation.
Mhm.
well, actually,
The
But like I
candle.
said, I already
I'm sorry.
objected to the
Stick handling.
consideration of the question.
okay, we've never actually, there's no power for the board president.
Oh.
So we're just affirming that the board president.
If we vote yes, and it's a 4-4, that's a no.
No,
also a
it's not.
violation of our 164.
And it's a violation of our policy. So if that is what she's proposing and it's a 4-4, it's a no. So that's their way around.
I see what Sally and Tom are saying in this instance, because let's say our next meeting is able to happen on January 18th. We'll start that meeting without a board president. Ideally, we would quickly thereafter have 1 of 2 people as the board president. But to have the ability to have a board attorney present for that meeting, that's essentially the spirit of what I think I'm hearing. Is that fair?
No,
It's not what I'm hearing.
no.
Okay.
As I understand,
I don't understand. We have a motion on the floor. We have a second. We've discussed it. I think there needs to be a roll call.
I agree. I object to the
can I just-
consideration of the question.
I
Needs
just
to be
want a
voted upon.
clarifying question. Angela, when you said we'll be in violation of policy, which policy are you referring to?
0164. If at the bottom of the policy, it says here, do you want me to read the policy? Okay. Absent bona fide emergent circumstances, no item may be placed on the agenda and or raised at the public meeting under old business or new business unless the board members provide at least 48 hours advance written notice of the items he/she desires to discuss or raise during old business or new business to all board members and the superintendent. If an item is raised during old business or new or business with less than required 48 hours notice to the board members and the superintendent, it cannot be considered, motioned, or voted upon at the board meeting.
There was a notice given there is an email documentation to Dr. Worley.
It's to all board members.
Yes, we were not, so all I'm saying
We
is,
did not
and
all
it also,
receive it.
or superintendent, and it was up to the superintendent to forward it, okay?
I'm gonna say that since you weren't sworn in and this policy has been in effect before you were here,
Yes,
then this would have to wait until the next board meeting.
that is,
That's my interpretation of the
with
matter.
all due respect, I think the policy was voted at the very last board meeting in December 2023. During the lame duck session, the intent was exactly this, to curb the ability of a new board member or any board member to move a motion. I would like to, that was in question.
I don't-
We did raise that as a concern. So I have a motion on the floor. If it's in violation of 0164, I would like to know how and why, and I would like to debate it later. Right now, the motion is I move a motion to have a board attorney present at every board meeting for Berkeley Heights Board of Ed. I got a second, and I think with all due respect, we need to move ahead with roll
And
call.
with due respect as well, I'm upholding the policy of what's stated for 164.
Also, Robert's Rules of Order say that you cannot do that. You cannot make a motion without consulting the board prior. Also, according to our own ethics that we now voted yes on, you have to refer all complaints to the chief administrative officer and will act on those complaints at public meetings only after failure of an administration solution. And like I said, I have a motion on the table to object to the consideration of the question with a second, because it does not follow procedure or policy.
Who was the second that we had for you?
Angela,
I seconded Pam's.
No, but first motion was mine, and I got a second from Dr. Forreger. So I think if we're going to vote, it needs to go in order.
however, Robert's Rules allows for this. And so I made a motion to strike your motion.
Since it's in violation of
Since we're in
the bylaw of 164.
Tell me the specific thing from Robert's Rules. I have the book here. You can just tell me where it is. Is it to postpone or what?
26, avoid main motion altogether.
What is concerning is we are treating some policies have more power versus new policy changes that were done in lame duck session. And I can argue that 2 incoming board members writing to the board president, the board secretary, and to the superintendent, and there were other board members copied on that email. So that is advance notice. If you are going to say no, under which interpretation, we can debate that. But I think this motion is on the floor and you need to vote on that.
It says to all board members and the superintendent.
And you were not a board member at the time. You
So
were
this doesn't
elected.
apply. So if you're going to interpret that, then it doesn't apply. If it is to all, I was not a board member, then the policy doesn't even apply.
It applies now. 'Cause you
And
are
I
a board
already-
member.
yeah.
Policy wasn't done in lame session. That was done before I was
No,
here.
Yes,
the
that was
the
it.
policy
Okay.
got a
I-
second,
Information
no, the
by the
second
secretary.
reading. To approve any policy, you need a second reading. When was this policy approved? Can you look at the date? It was December 2023.
It doesn't, it was approved. It was approved before I've been here.
It during the lame duck session.
No.
No, it
that's
wasn't.
What is the
inaccurate.
date of the approval what was the date that was, I know the meeting date. Look on the policy,
In 2023,
December, what is the date?
It's approved in December. Second reading was
Okay.
December.
Second
Second
reading
reading was
was
December.
during the lame duck session.
It doesn't,
Yes.
it doesn't make it not an
If
effective.
not a
See, I am
policy in
willing,
effect.
okay, with all due respect, we have an attorney here. We have a difference of opinion on interpretation of policy. I am willing to let this motion, which according to Robert's Rules of Order, be voted on. And if I'm in violation of 0164, I would like to know how is it executed?
I call
because
for
at
point
for-
of order.
At this point, nobody in this district knows what is a violation of a policy. So I would like to vote on this, and then you can proceed with, okay, this is an,
I need to defer to counsel on this because this is, I'm not a legal opinion advisor on this. I'm a board secretary and the things that I've seen here tonight, I've never seen in my 25 years, 26 years of doing this job.
AJ, just,
I've never-
sorry,
I've
talking
never
about
seen a
Mr.
stalemate
Akiri.
like this.
I
Think
guess
of it
point
as
of
the
order,
think
can
of it
we-
as, AJ, think of it as the experience of a lifetime.
Yes.
And I think we have to vote on this. There's a motion with a second.
I agree.
Can we?
Can we just do the vote? Can we
Yeah.
just do that? Vote on Pamela's motion, vote on Sai's motion, and whichever is the right order.
So,
Yeah. It doesn't.
again, like clarification, that yes or no, if a next meeting were to happen on January 18th, does a yes vote and or a no vote allow for an attorney to be present? Or is it one of the other?
Just my understanding with regard to your policy 164, whether it was approved at a second reading in a lame duck session or not, does not make it any less operable a policy as we sit here today. And so for your board secretary's interpretation, number one, I don't know if a request to add it to new business was made 48 hours in advance, but this is a reorganization meeting. You're scheduled to have another meeting in 2 weeks. And per your policy 164, you state in that policy, that bylaw, that it cannot be raised and voted upon at a meeting on the spot, which appears to be what's happening here right now, which appears to be the reason why that language was added to the policy, so that Mr. Juskowitz, who hasn't seen anything like this in 25 years of being a board secretary, stops happening.
With all due respect, Mr. Wenzel, I have a basic question to ask you. If you're acting as a board attorney, are you also acting in my behalf while you are also pursuing other stuff against me? So I don't, with all due respect, this advice, I would like to ignore it. According to Robert's Rules of Order, there is a motion, I got a second, and I think it needs to be voted on.
My firm represents the board, not any individual board member.
Okay,
Can-
thank you.
Sorry, can we just vote on the motion and figure
No,
out
because
what?
it's illegal. No, it's an invalid.
It's
motion.
against
I thought we were voting on your motion, I
It's
thought.
Invalid motion is what the attorney just said.
Sorry.
That is,
so-
that
so-
is what Ms. Stanley is saying as well, because it's to move forward with this is in violation of the policy, the bylaw.
So, okay, I want to go back to the beginning of the meeting where we established that we were not in compliance. The agenda for this meeting is not in compliance with policy 154. And we
I've
called it
stated-
ceremonial and whatever, right? We used words around it. We are now talking about a different policy. What I'm trying to just establish here is that if Pamela has a motion on the table, are we going to vote on it? If not, then are we going to vote on motion that Sai,
The point that she's making is that
No
What she- well, it might, exactly, the motion shouldn't be voted on because it's against the bylaw.
Pamela's
so
motion
let's,
was to
let's-
not vote, was
Right,
to make
so-
an amendment
so
to not
let's
vote.
vote on Pamela's motion, right? Isn't that the right thing to do here?
Not if we can't vote on the original motion, we can't even vote on the second thing that I am asking
Because the
for.
point that she's
Because
making is that it's in violation of the bylaw.
So you put it on for new business for the next meeting in 2 weeks.
That is what I stated earlier as well. Since we have no board president either,
Okay.
or committees for that.
So in 2
instance.
weeks, are we going to be voting to readopt bylaws and policies? Is that
I
right?
would hope so, but first we have to get through from A to B and getting the county superintendent to get a board president in here first with the vice president.
No,
And
you
then
can, all we
to
need
start
is a
making
chairman of the
decisions going
meeting, right?
forward, because we seem to be
Correct,
going around
correct,
the
Dr.
circle.
Forreger.
Yeah, we just need a chairman of the meeting.
So if that's possible, if at the next meeting, 5 of you can agree on a chairman of the meeting, you can have your meeting. If the county superintendent doesn't act first,
Doesn't Anthony step up to the plate here?
not at the second meeting, the
No?
next meeting per your bylaw, you have to, 5 of you agree upon a temporary chair. Anthony will start the meeting and then hold a vote, and you will vote amongst yourselves to designate a temporary presiding officer of that meeting.
Could we have the board secretary be the temporary presiding officer?
Not what I've been able to find thus far in terms of authority. My interpretation is you vote and you elect a temporary
There
chair
has been-
for that meeting only.
So
So-
there has been precedence that Donna Felizola acted as, the previous board secretary did act as the chairman for the meeting.
So then if we,
I think she was talking about this meeting. Oh, not the second.
Well, this meeting, the reorg meeting for
Second-
sure.
They were second meetings. You can go and check it. But at this moment, I would like to go back to my motion, which is on the floor,
Deny.
and I would like to vote on that because it got a second.
I'm going, it has to be denied
Being
due to the
denied.
fact of the bylaw.
Denied.
to
And
So
adjourn.
and to have it brought up again at the next meeting, as we just stated.
I move to
under
adjourn.
under which policy or which authority are you denying?
164.
No, no, no. Bylaw of 164 asks for a 48-hour rule. You are denying a motion that is on the floor to go for a vote. You're a,
That is
so
correct because it's in violation of that bylaw.
Well, it's pursuant to the language of the bylaw. The bylaw states it.
so there are, so you cannot have that. That's the point. You're reviewing 0154 with a different power versus 0164, which was voted during the lame duck session. And I'm saying with all due respect, you're a board secretary, you represent the entire board. If you're going to view one board policy with a certain weight and say, I'm going to research and get back to you, then maybe you need to research this too. This policy doesn't prevent a motion that's on the floor that has got a second vote to go from vote. You
It
could-
does, it does. It clearly states that in there. And that.
If it
like,
does, no, it needs to go for a roll call. And if you want to get it decided, you can go to New Jersey's Department of Ed and go to conflicts and resolutions and ask them to look at it. I think we need to vote on this. You can provide your detail, your supporting information that this particular
can I get a
vote
second
needs
to
to be invalidated and let the
Make a
New
second
Jersey
to adjourn.
Department of Ed tell us that.
Then I will do that. Right now, I'm going to dismiss that motion based on that bylaw.
On which bylaw? That bylaw doesn't give you the power to dismiss the
Going on in
motion.
circles.
That's on the floor. That bylaw only talks about a 48-hour rule.
Oh, I know. About it.
Can we, is there a way to table this motion till the next meeting?
That was the suggestion. That was the suggestion.
I think, well, I thought the suggestion was to squash the motion. No,
No.
I'm suggesting
For tonight.
table the motion.
So Anthony suggested that we table the motion to
Okay,
the next
sorry,
meeting.
I missed that.
No motion.
We haven't done a motion to that. That was my suggestion.
Okay.
That was a suggestion. We haven't got
No,
there
but
yet.
so, but
And,
Dave-
and as the last paragraph of 160 of the bylaw 164, conduct of a board meeting, absent bona fide emergent circumstances, no item may be placed on the agenda and or raised at the public meeting under old business or new business unless the board member has provided at least 48 hours advance written notice of the items he or she desires to discuss or raise during old business or new business to all board members and the superintendent. If an item is raised during old business or new business with less than the required 48-hour notice to all board members and the superintendent, the items cannot be considered motioned or voted upon at that board meeting.
So you've actually solved the problem. It says absent emergent circumstances, but we have an emergent circumstance here because we don't have a board president to invite you to the meeting. We need this thing to say you can come.
That, my
Right.
decision is final at this point.
No, but mine isn't. I'm saying there's an emergent circumstance, so you can actually consider this.
this is emergent circumstances.
This is not an emergent circumstance.
So can we make a motion to table and then? I
No,
guess-
first we need to vote on the current motion that's on the floor.
Yeah.
And then if it is in violation,
That,
So I would like to make a motion to table it. Would
that's
you like
what-
to second it?
That's, yes, so that's what I would like. Let's make a motion to table. I will second it.
Second it.
Angela is the one making the motion. I'm the one who's seconding it.
To table this until the next meeting.
no, but this is not in the order, Dipti. I'm sorry. These are emergent circumstances. You have a second by Dr. Forreger, and if this vote has to be invalidated, AJ is within his right to reach out to the Department of Ed and say, this is in violation, these are not emergent circumstances, and then do that. The first
Right.
motion
I'm
was,
going to uphold that. We're going to make a motion
I
to bring
agree.
this up at the next board
We-
meeting so we can conclude this meeting because
And a new
this
business.
meeting will go on till 12 o'clock tonight and we're going around in circles to discuss this.
no, wait, just vote. And you don't have to go in circles, just vote, and then you,
There's
no,
nothing to vote on
why?
due to the fact of the policy.
No,
And
that
that's
is your
what the hearing-
interpretation, with all due respect.
We have a motion to table. Let's table it. Is the
This
suggestion
is
here?
great use of taxpayer dollars where we have an attorney who's taking sides and whispering in certain board members' ears and superintendent. This is the advice we get. This is great.
It is costing.
He's
us
not
money.
taking sides. We're trying to be respectful of people's time. We've been here a long time and the motion is to table it.
Did
and
Mr.
bring it up at the
Mr.
next
Wenzel
meeting.
go and
So,
talk to? Did I listen to his advice that he was giving Dr. Worley and Pamela
Can-
and to AJ?
Can
I
we-
didn't
can
hear
we
his
take
advice.
5? Can we just take 5? Just take 5. Take 5 at 9:45.
No, I am calm, Dipti. There is no, all I'm saying is, I respect his interpretation. If this, let it go for a vote. If it fails, it fails. If it passes, it passes. And then if he has a problem, like how he's going to research on the other policies, he can go and he's entitled to do that. We have one legal firm, we have an alternate legal firm, they can all research it and come back to us. If this motion at the next meeting says that this motion was not valid and it was not supposed to be done this way, I'm fine with that.
We're done. We're gonna table this for a motion for a new business, correct? You made the motion?
It's been seconded.
I made the
It's been
motion.
seconded?
I made the motion.
Angela made the
Seconded.
motion, I
and Dipti
seconded it.
Can we vote, please?